and the power of the network called Catalyst 2030. So as you know, this is the first edition of the Catalyst 2030 in South Asia Networking Mixer. And we're very excited to have all of you here to allow you an opportunity to understand the diversity of work that our members are doing. Some of you present here may also be from outside of the Catalyst 2030 network. So of course, this is a great opportunity for you to learn more about Catalyst 2030. Just to start off, Catalyst 2030 is a global movement that is working towards the acceleration of the SDGs. And we have a presence in 197 countries with 3,000 members and growing. So my colleague John has just put up a poll for you just to get a sense of how many of you are from the network and how many of you are not. Okay, 100% from the network. Okay, interesting. We seem to have mostly members here, but also good to see some folks from outside the network. So I think the poll is still ongoing, John, or are these the final figures?
Let me see that. It's not, I can't see it on my screen.
Yeah, it's okay. These are final figures. So we've got 3 folks from outside the network. Welcome to Catalyst 2030 to all of you, and for existing members as well. So John, if you can move on to the next slide, we'd just like to take you through what the format for the day would be. In the meantime, please feel free to share your introduction in the chat, including the name of your organization, as well as your location, and also your social media links, particularly LinkedIn, because this is a networking mixer and there's no better way for us to keep in touch than with our contact details and in LinkedIn, of course. And we would also like you to put down in the chat quick thoughts on what your expectations are from today, because ultimately this is the first in a series of networking mixers, and we would love to know more from you at this stage as to what you would like to see in a forum like this. And of course, we'll take your feedback into consideration, and I'm sure the Catalyst 2030 Secretariat will then take it forward and construct more sessions that meet your requirements. So please do put up your introductions in the chat. In the meantime, a few housekeeping rules, which I'm sure all of you are familiar with. If you're not speaking, then please mute yourself, raise your hands. Otherwise, if you have any sort of comments or questions to raise, and please do switch on your cameras and keep it on as far as possible. If your network permits, we would love to just keep that engagement going. Similarly, please feel free to continuously engage with us on the chat. We will try and address all of your comments and queries as far as possible. And of course, this session is already being recorded, and we assume all of you are fine with that. So thank you in advance. And that's it. I think just please do enjoy yourselves during this session and keep an open mind to the kind of conversations we can have. And we hope that you genuinely find it to not just be fun, but also incredibly valuable, and that this lays the foundation for future networking mixers as well. So now I'm going to take you very quickly through the agenda. We've already done a bit of the context setting on what the intent of the session is, but following this, John will be coming in to take you through a primer on Catalyst 2030, particularly in the context of how we enable collaborations, and a quick welcome message, of course, on behalf of the Catalyst 2030 Secretariat. Then we move on to a very exciting panel of South Asia social innovators, where we have 5 country chairs being represented, who will take you through the kind of collaborations that they have entered into in their respective countries. We have representation from Afghanistan, India, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. So it's going to be quite exciting, and I'm sure all of you will enjoy that as they come in and introduce themselves and their country's work. We'll, of course, have a quick open forum after that for any questions or comments. And then we go into the breakout rooms, which is the part that we're most excited about, where all of you will be placed in 5 to 6 groups approximately, and have around 25 minutes to engage with each other and understand more about each other's work. Of course, please do share, learn from each other, exchange contact details, and explore collaborations. We also have a couple of guiding questions for your reference. So we really hope that that allows you to engage better with each other over the course of those 20 minutes. And lastly, we have the plenary sharing, where we will have representatives from the chairs of the various countries coming in and sharing the insights that you have all shared in those breakout rooms, following which we will then close out with a closing note from my colleague Mishri Jain, who heads collaborations at Catalyst 2030. And hopefully we will have a lot of feedback from you to understand how we can make these forums more valuable for you. So thank you very much again for joining in. And we will now move on to John coming in and starting you off with a primer and a welcome note from the Catalyst 2030 Secretariat. Over to you, John.
Thank you, Aparna. Before I begin, allow me to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands where I'm calling from today and pay my respects to the elders past, present, and emerging. Once again, I'm John Uminga. My pronouns are he and his, and I'm currently the Asia Pacific Coordinator of Catalyst 2030. I would like to warmly welcome everyone to today's call, the very first South Asia regional networking. I'm really very excited for this because this is the first time that we're doing this. And it's actually very intentional. We would like for us to be able to spark conversations, facilitate networking, and also hopefully it can bear fruits in terms of collaborations for our respective countries and region at large. For those who may be unfamiliar with Catalyst 2030, we know that there are around 4 people who are not yet members. I prepared a very quick presentation for everyone. Let me just pull my screen. And please indulge us with this video.
Catalyst 2030 is a movement of social entrepreneurs and innovators embracing collective action to achieve the SDGs by the deadline 2030. Our 1,500 members are active in 197 countries. By emphasizing collaborations, Catalyst 2030 is leveraging the power of the collective to accelerate real change in the lives of billions of people around the globe. What do our members say about Catalyst?
Catalyst 2030 is an invaluable global community of impact entrepreneurs.
Our relationship with Catalyst 2030 has really taught us the power of co-creation.
Join Catalyst 2030 and network, bond, and collaborate with our family members.
And I like the spirit of bringing change makers together to share and learn from each other.
Catalyst really understands the transformative nature of collaboration.
It's also a platform that can give us new tools and resources.
Catalyst 2030 has put my work on steroids.
But most importantly, to come up with solutions that are practical, ways where we can really make things happen, because social entrepreneurs are doers.
Are you a catalyst? Join us to achieve the SDGs.
Thank you so much. As mentioned by Aparna, we're present in 197 countries, addressing 17 SDGs. So Catalyst 2030 has been founded in 2020 during the World Economic Forum by 4 of the biggest networks of social enterprise advocates, Going Green, Skoll Foundation, Schwab Foundation, and Ashoka. Just for everyone's information, we're present in all of these regions and chapters. If you take a look at the regional chapters, we don't have a South Asia chapter, but we do have very strong country chapters. Afghanistan is a new chapter. India has been very active. Nepal, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. So these are all amazing country chapters that we hope to be able to grow in the future as well. If you see that your country is not here, feel free to reach out to us and we can explore how we can bring Catalyst 2030 in your country or region. Of course, aside from welcoming you to the South Asia networking session, today is the 4th day of the Catalyzing Change Week. We hope that you've been joining sessions. If not, it's not yet too late. You still have today and tomorrow. But just very quickly again, let me show this 1-minute video about Catalyzing Change Week.
Welcome to Catalyzing Change Week. This year's Catalyzing Change Week is about solutions from the front lines by social innovators.
In 2022, Catalyst 2030 concentrated its efforts on bringing proximate leaders and frontline solutions to the forefront. Collaborations led by members from the Global South produced groundbreaking reports on climate and transforming education, with an emphasis on offering local solutions. we continued our mission to create an enabling environment for social entrepreneurs to flourish by initiating a letter to donors, signed by more than 1,200 social entrepreneurs and innovators. The Catalyst 2030 awards ceremony was spectacular, and the awards themselves welcomed by the private sector, governments, multilaterals and donors.
Catalyst 2030 as a movement is disruptive.
One of the best things I think that's come out of Catalyst 2030 so far is incredible collaboration across the ecosystem that just didn't exist before Catalyst came into being.
The thing I love most about Catalyst is that it's an open movement for social entrepreneurs around the world.
I'd encourage anyone who's looking to be more connected with their local communities around social development goals to come along to Catalysing Change Week.
Welcome to Catalyzing Change Week.
Thank you so much. I think without further ado, I just like to emphasize today's sessions. Today's session is really all about solutions. So it could be finding solutions for your respective individual advocacies or solutions that can hopefully help address some of the problems that we're having in our respective countries and ultimately the region of South Asia. So we're here because we're wanting to collaborate more for South Asia. And this is, I think, the spark that we're wanting to have. Again, we're not able to cover everything in 1.5 hours. So take this first session as that first session, which is just a spark of conversation that we're hopefully having more in the future. So once again, welcome to the call, and we all deserve a great time today together. Back to you, Aparna.
Thank you, John. And as you've heard throughout in the videos, as well as from John's comments, we're all about local solutions. And we would love, but at the same time, we'd like to take a global approach to how we enable collaborations. So please do explore synergies with each other in that limited time. And don't forget to share your contact details. And I'm sure we'll have great conversations that will allow all of you to take this conversation forward to greater results. So now, without further ado, we have the South Asia Social Innovators panel, where I would like to now call on Ahmed Kais Anwari, who is the chair of our Afghanistan chapter of Catalyst 2030, who will be taking you through the work of the Afghanistan chapter and the kind of collaborations that they have been entering into. Over to you, Kais.
Just very quickly, Afghanistan is a very new chapter that we've launched just recently. So Kais, if you're able to share some of the plans that you've prepared for the chapter, that's going to be amazing. Just checking cases here.
John, if Kais is facing technical issues, may I suggest that we move on to India?
Yeah.
So,
yes,
John, how are you doing? Do you have my voice?
Yeah, we can hear you, Kais.
Welcome, Kais. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Just give me a minute, please. Give me.
Sure.
Aparna, do you want to go to India first?
Sure, we could do that. Ramiz, who is the co-anchor of the India chapter of Catalyst 2030, is here with us. So Ramiz, over to you. Looking forward to your updates on what we've been doing in India.
Thank you, Aparna and John. I am Ramiz Alam. I am based out of India. I have been co-leading the efforts of the chapter in India. Next slide, John. Thank you. So in the India chapter is also an association of social entrepreneurs. It's a member-led and member-driven network committed to representing the social innovation and entrepreneurship in India. We started, I think we are one of the first chapter of Catalyst 2030. 2020 December is when we launched the chapter, and I see some of the members from that time are also present here. Sankara Raman, Vishal Talreja, Nishit Kumar, who are present here also, have been leading co-leading the efforts of the India chapter and part of multiple working groups and the collaboratives that we have established. We have around 10 collaboratives in India working on various SDG topics, India Education Collab, Sustainable and Safe Mobility Coalition, coalitions that are working with young people and looking at how they can change the norms around youth leadership in India, Varta Leap. Then another collaborative that is working on nutrition, that is a India Nutrition Collab led by Vitamin Angels. So, and then on working with artisans and livelihood and health also. So we have around 10 plus collaboratives, and these collaboratives have members more than 1,500 and organizations that are part of these collaboratives. Apart from that, the Catalyst 2030 India chapter itself has around 400 members. We have 4 working groups. One that is working on membership engagement and how we can create opportunities for members. Another one which is working on shifting the narrative for the social sector, which is how we can create positive environment for the social tech sector and lead the effort to change the narrative that is prevalent in India about social sector. We have a new working group which is looking at how the sector and members can utilize the benefits of social stock exchange in India. This is some of the work that is happening, but we have some key activities that we have picked up as the network in India. John, can I request you to change the slide? Yeah, so these are some of the activities and objectives that we have picked up. Development of collaboratives, initiatives in partnership with government and district level transformation. This will include the government and the community together, and how do we develop these collaboratives and implement them. Take action to develop India as a hub for discussing and mainstreaming social innovation as an approach in Global South area. So the idea is that how do we portray India as one of the leading country to create environment for innovations for social entrepreneurs, and that can be co-developed, co-owned, and co-led. We are also involving the approach of localization and community-driven development in India, and that is one of the main approach that we have picked up, and we are leading that effort in India through our 10 plus collaboratives. So all these collaboratives are community-driven development, putting localization at the forefront. We are also promoting to shift the funding practices, that how do we influence trust-based philanthropy. One of our collaborative Rebuild India Fund by Dasra is leading that effort in India right now to create an environment where philanthropists and foundations are tilting towards trust-based philanthropy. We are also, as I shared, one of the working groups specifically looking at narrative building for the social sector. So we recently launched a report which was co-developed and co-led by around 21 organizations and networks. And that gave us a very interesting insight in terms of what is our contribution in GDP. And that came out to be 2%. And interestingly, the contribution of, say, mining industry in India is 2.5%. So I think we are, this is one kind of a report which we will continuously, we will bring out newer version of it. And through some of these things, we'll try and change the narrative. Also, we will be looking at how we can create an environment through collaboratives and other efforts to participate in policy shaping on various issues. And we definitely want to establish India as one of the Global South region to organize large-scale events where people can come and talk about what needs to happen in the region for Global South. Thank you, Aparna, over to you.
Thank you so much, Ramesh, for that very comprehensive overview of the Catalyst 2030 India chapter. Just a quick call out for everyone present here, whether you're from India or not. We have, as I mentioned, a working group 16 on localization and community-driven development, and we're always on the lookout for new members. So if you're interested in knowing more about the working group and Catalyst 2030's work on this very important developmental agenda, please feel free to reach out to us, and we'd be more than happy to have that conversation with you. Now I'd like to call on Arjun Bhattarai, who is the chair of the Nepal chapter of Catalyst 2030, to share his views on this particular chapter.
Thank you, Arpana. Thank you very much. And thank you all for joining today. Very important session. Namaste, good afternoon, good morning, where are you? And this is Arjun Bhattarai. I represent the Catalyst 2030 Nepal chapters. And of course, I represent the National Umbrella Organization and Social Entrepreneurship Movements of Nepal. Nepal chapter is still new. We are not, large like India chapter, but however, we are, growing and promoting the Catalyst 2030 movements in Nepal. Next slide, please. Nepal chapters as the global vision, just our vision, also the collaboration to achieve the SDGs. And we have different collaboration with the national and international levels. We have a Nepal SDG forums, and also we're collaborating with the government and UN system. So that is our main, the national visions of the Catalyst 2030 Nepal. And of course, we are working across the countries and engaging the members for the achieving SDGs. And our objectives is the co-creations and creating enabling environment for ecosystem for the social entrepreneurs. And we encourage to participate in different activities or different campaigns and mobilizations. And also we are promoting the people economy. That means the responsible business. So that is our main objective for Nepal chapters. Next slide, please. Our work scope, now we are increasing member, but so far we are like around 18 member, but they represent larger, organization and social entrepreneurs movement. So, but the numbers is because we are still very new, and we're building a different awareness campaign and awareness raising campaign. Recently we engaged in like different awareness raising campaign by the social media also. So people now more engaging and interested at moments, and we do organize the capacity building activity, especially focusing the young entrepreneurs and the women's group and the community-based organizations and NGO communities. So that very interesting area that we are like volunteer local review or volunteer national review of SDG. That part also we're engaging, not single Catalyst 2030. We are collaborating with the different organizations. And we are doing the network and alliance building. Of course, as a Catalyst 2030 is a larger platform, we want to build a networking alliance building with the other multi-stakeholders and other civil society, private sector. So more, interest is growing on. So hopefully will, bigger shape in the coming futures. And we do some lobby advocacy, some in a good sense, like, we are doing lobby advocacy for the enabling environment for the social entrepreneurs and also for the achieving SDG agenda. And recently we're engaging with the parliamentarian and also with the bureaucrats and the civil society for the better policy for the on SDG or better plan. And also we do some publication medias, like we prepare like just electronic documents and some flyers on the promoting social enterprise. And also we do the workshop and seminars together with the other stakeholders, and we support also the startup and innovations for the like young or women's groups. So those are our scope country Nepal chapters. Next slide, please. Our best practices. So we, as I said before, like collaborations. We did, one big event recently. I think 1 month ago. Like it was like about the social entrepreneurship symposium, and we organized 3 days event. And first day we engaged with the social entrepreneurs, and second day we engaged with the in schools, and third day we are engaged with the different stakeholders, including the government officials or other parliamentarian civil society. So it is a collaborative action together with the national NGO platform, Nepal SDG Forum, and other national level NGOs and social entrepreneur institutions. So that is our unique opportunity to engage in the Catalyst 2030. And we believe on inclusivity, different sector of people also engaging in our platform. And we create an open space because there is we didn't want to work in the closed space. It's an open space to everyone can join, like individual or institution, or NGOs or private sectors. Then that is the our unique features of Nepal chapters. And we do the volunteerism because this all movement is as a volunteer movement, so everyone can join as a volunteer effort. And we everyone are taking some responsibility and to organize the seminar, workshop, or training. So they are engaging the different activities. And of course, we are thinking to do the sustainability of these movements by collaborating with the other stakeholders and the other campaigns. Next slide, please. And there is some achievement, there's a motivation of the different stakeholders. That is the good achievement. Now the growing interest of the and social entrepreneurs, academia, and also the civil society. So we don't have a special policy on social entrepreneurship in Nepal. So we are engaging with the government stakeholders to build national policy and laws and policy for the social entrepreneurs. And we are still working on the concept clarity of this, what means of the social entrepreneurship, because there's a big confusion on social entrepreneurship in our context, because there is not a clear law and policy. So we are working on that. And the one is the membership growing in different sector, as I mentioned already, and partnership and collaboration increasing. And the last thing I mentioned here, the commitment, when we did the last the social entrepreneur symposium, there was one commitment made by the minister, private sectors, and myself and other stakeholder to there are a couple of in the agenda mentioned in the that commitment letter. So it is in Nepali, however they they want to commit for the SDG, they want to fulfill for the the demand of the social entrepreneurs, and they committed also to make a enabling environment for the social entrepreneurs. So a couple of their commitments. So we are following those commitment, and of course hopefully they will they will fulfill our commitment in the upcoming days. So those are my basic presentation for today's session. So of course I am welcome to everyone to join in the Catalyst 2030 Nepal chapter. So I am available. So it's a very global interesting movement. So I like to invite, today we have a session at 5:30. It's a Nepali time. So we are doing discussion on the Catalyst 2030 on academia sector, especially discussing on the formal education. So how social entrepreneur movement including the formal education system in Nepal. So Nepal and the other part of the India and other part of the region. So I'd like to invite all of you to join our session this evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Arjun. Wonderful to hear about all the exciting and diverse work that's happening in Nepal. And thank you for all that you're doing there. Now I'd like to call on Fawad Bajwa from the Pakistan chapter of Catalyst 2030. Over to you, Fawad.
Thank you so much, Aparna. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. Can we move to the slide, please? Yeah, so I'm going to keep it pretty short. I'm really excited for the breakout rooms. So Pakistan chapter is, you can say it's relatively new. It came into formation in December of 2021. Our two co-chairs, Fiaz and Mushtaba, put the chapter application together. And they were representing Discovering New Artists and the Accountability Lab Pakistan. And since then, the chapter membership has grown up till 7 organizational members, and up till we have a lot of individual members as well. There's a lot of you've heard about what's been going on in Pakistan in the news. Over the past year, we had heat waves, we had a lot of climate change impacts over here. We had flash rains and floods, and it was pretty devastating for 1/3 of the country. So it's been a lot of up and down over here. So we've been working on developing collaborations in many areas. For example, My organization, Agriculture Republic Pakistan, is a public policy innovation thinking group, and our social we're a hybrid organization. So our other arm, the infrastructure arm, is called Digital Data. So we're trying to connect all the farmland, all the remote rural communities, especially youth and women across Pakistan, to the internet and bringing them entrepreneurial opportunities, which through digital technologies, digital inclusion. So we have 200 sites. We have plans to deploy 200 sites across the country. So that's nearly 4 million people. So apart from that, we've been developing collaborations. Accountability Lab is developing collaborations. Many of other members are working on collaborations. Those haven't been announced because they're still in the works. We've also started connecting with networks beyond Pakistan, which means that our members participated in this whole forum for the first time in Pakistan. There were 2 members over there. Collaborations are underway, as I've already shared with you. There's a lot of local engagement planned for this year. And there's been discussions, there's going to be some sessions, internal sessions during the next few months. Things go slow a bit in Ramadan. We just came out of Ramadan. So things are catching up, and the CCW events are also a catalyst in getting everyone together and getting everyone up to speed with what's going on within the global network, and what can be done in the local network. So that's all from me. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to the rest of the session.
Thank you so much, Fawad. And again, wonderful to hear about the strides made by the Pakistan chapter of Catalyst 2030. And thank you so much for all your contributions along with other members in your capacity as coordinator for the Pakistan chapter. Now we have Ms. Achala Samara, who's the co-chair of our Sri Lanka chapter. Achala, over to you.
Thank you, Aparna, and greeting from Sri Lanka to everyone. I'm actually Achala Samara Divakara, and I'm co-chair, and our other co-chair Ishara also here. Hi, Ishara, and all Sri Lankans and all the Asians. It's really excited moment for us to share our own stories. Let me start with our purpose. If you don't mind, please, can you share my next slide? So Sri Lanka chapter is very new. We started in December 2012. So we started Sri Lanka chapter with the purpose of catalyzing all our social entrepreneurs and responsible businesses around the country, because in Sri Lanka, there are so many activities going on, after Sri Lanka, some of, up and downs with civil war and, tsunami. We had so many, economic challenges. And during the time, there are so many entrepreneurs around the country started, their own way to highlight some of the good things. As example, there are farmers, they came up with organic farming and climate adaptation. And there are some organizations, they came up with when they're doing something, they always work with their community to uplift their lives. And then handloom industries. Likewise, there are so many small industries came forward and started their own business activities. But they never realize they are doing something really good for people and planet. They just have done things according to their own way. But after a few years, we realize it's really important to highlight these small, innovators into a one platform as social entrepreneurs or maybe as responsible businesses. So we started to curate these small businesses and highlight their stories in one platform. That's how we started Sri Lanka as a social entrepreneurs ecosystem in 2012. We call it Good Market because Good Market is helping us to curate social entrepreneurs, and we are highlighting their stories. So going forward, we realize, just highlighting is not enough. They really need some kind of like a support to develop their own, income generation activities. As example, some has done, some good, mission-driven activities, but they are not financially sustainable. So we thought, okay, we are going to create a marketplace for them to physically be attend and meet their own customers and develop more dialogue. So then in Colombo, we have every Saturday, we have a marketplace. Around 50 to 60 community groups are gathering to there, and every Saturday they are selling their ethical products. So that's our marketplace. And also we do a lot of, acceleration and curation programs for people to understand about what is SDG. They do a lot of things, but they don't know what is SDG, what is sustainability, how they can adapt slowly these into their businesses. So we do a lot of acceleration and coaching sessions, and in the same time we do we have actually incubator shops also. Not only the marketplace, they are slowly, once they develop their own businesses throughout the market, so we are slowly developing so helping to them to develop their supply chain. So we have incubator shops in Colombo. And you can see some of pictures. I'm happy to even share my next slides if you don't mind. There you can see here our team in Sri Lanka now in December 2012 when we are launching. We had 32, but when we are launching our Catalyst 2030 in December, this is our outcome. We actually at a glance, when we are shouting out to our people, we said, hey, we are going to do this. So immediately more than 50 people gathered and they were so excited to start Sri Lanka chapter. So this is our team. And also I'll show you some pictures about Sri Lankan marketplace where we started to people together and sell their products. This is our good market retail chain. So people are connecting and coming and selling their products. And then also they're always trying to share their story among other people. And they do a lot of discussions and dialogue in Sri Lanka to highlight and promote what we do here. So that's all about Sri Lankan chapter. There are so many pictures here. Even if you would like to connect with, Sri Lanka chapter, please log into our social media. It's open, and also our website. So this is not only for Sri Lankan people. We love to even invite you. If you are doing something good for people and planet, please come and curate with us, because we wanted to highlight Sri Lanka, Asia to the globe as responsible social entrepreneurs, and we are towards to achieve SDG. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Achala. I think the Sri Lanka chapter is yet another great example of localization and community-driven development. And also thank you for that offer to all members present here to collaborate further with your chapter. So I'm just going to take a pause here and check on whether Kaiz, who's the chair of the Afghanistan chapter, is back with us. Kaiz, if you can hear us, or if you're on the call, and if you'd like to come in to talk a bit about the Afghanistan chapter. John, could you let me know if he's on the call?
Trying to find him. Oh yeah, I can see him in the call, although he's muted.
Okay. So Kaiz, I think we'll wait for you to come back in case you're facing some technical issues, but in the interest of time, we will just move on to a quick sense check with all of you present here. If you have any queries or questions or comments that you would like to share, please feel free to unmute, raise your hand and unmute, and we'd love to hear from you. Also, great to see some collaborations happening on chat already, so please keep that going. We'd love to see that happening throughout the session. And do we have any questions coming in, John?
Not yet.
Okay. So we do have a question for the country chairs, which might help to add more context to how collaboration works at a global level within Catalyst 2030. So quick open question to all country chairs, please feel free to jump in. Can any of you come in on how Catalyst 2030 as a network has been able to enable collaborations and support your work in your country? I'll leave it open to any of you to come in. Arjun, Fawad, Achala, Ramiz, or even Kaiz.
Yeah, thank you, Arpana. Actually, a couple of the meeting we conduct at the regional level and ASEAN and international level. Like last year, we conducted an international workshop on Catalyst the social entrepreneurship. So there are many, more than 20 countries they participate, and they share their, like what they are doing and what are the best practices and what in like level up, the progress of SDGs. So that's very useful, to localize in our own context. So hopefully in the South Asia, we have many similarities. So maybe we can share our expertise and maybe knowledge sharing, sometime, technology sharing, and sometimes we can even people to people exchange. That will be very helpful because we are doing some exchange even Africa. So like, it's a very good tale, exchange in between South Asia. It will be more benefited and fruitful for all of us. So I think we have many areas that we can collaborate, but this is the starting. So maybe we can get other feedback from our colleagues and members. So then we can start that collaboration in futures.
Thank you, Arjun. Completely agree with that. And that's exactly what we'd like to see at the end of the session. Any other thoughts from the other co-chairs? If not, John, are we on track for the breakout room sessions?
I can come in.
Yes,
Aparna.
please, Ramesh.
I think COVID-19 gave us a big learning, and I'm speaking specifically for India, and I'm sure that was the same case in other regions as well, that the grassroots organizations actually delivered to address the problem COVID raised for the country, right? And that realization was visible to the government agencies and to large organizations and international NGOs as well, and philanthropies and foundations. With that realization, I think another realization we had was that grassroots organizations actually understand the local problem more than an organization which comes into a place and deliver their program or service, right? Because they are from there, they understand the socio-economic problems and the political alignment, whatever people have. And these two realizations, I think, made people understand the importance of localization and proximate leaders, and that it is important to create collaborative approaches to deliver programs and on issues they are working on. Because the grassroots organization and proximate leaders bring equally important perspective and notions about the issue, and they would be actually able to deliver much more faster than any organization which comes from outside. I think what Catalyst 2030 did is actually build on that and provided a platform for organizations to co-create interventions and collaboratives that could actually revolutionize the issue. Large organizations definitely transformed the issue, no doubt about it, but they were not able to change the norms, right? And what we are trying to do through Catalyst 2030 collaboratives is changing the norms now, and not just be another service model, service provider. So I think that's the huge role Catalyst 2030 played. The understanding of co-creation existed way before Catalyst 2030 came, right? We can't give that credit to Catalyst 2030, but what we can give is the ability to bring organizations from grassroots to national or international level and work on changing norms in society. Thank you.
Great pitch there for grassroots organizations, Ramesh. I think thinking local to go global is really the name of the game. Fawad, I think I saw you raise a hand there to come in.
One of the largest resources that countries like ours in South Asia have are its youth. And then, the balance of youth happens with the balance of gender. So this is a great opportunity. One of the challenges of these regions are that if, you take in youth and you put them into trash activities, you will only get trash out. But social innovation itself presents a very strong model for them to address issues which are more pressing to them within their local situation. And, the world isn't very different anymore. So with the proliferation of the internet and with our capability to connect with each other and share digital resources, there's a grand opportunity for collaboration, which can be utilized. And youth don't know borders. Youth want to be global citizens. So there's a world out there because of the internet, which is global. And there's a huge opportunity under the SDGs till 2030 to connect all these communities so that they can share resources and learn from each other. So this huge opportunity needs to be structured. So this is a very important area where I think, all these collaborations can play a part. For example, across the region, Mishri knows this, that we are in discussions on something which affects the food security in our country. So there's so many opportunities with this, so many opportunity for cross-pollination. And I think that is what the Catalyst 2030 community brings together, is to bring all these, members and actors together and find common grounds where they can collaborate. Collaboration is finding common goals. So there are a lot of common goals, interregional, beyond South Asia, within South Asia, that needs to be further catalyzed. And I think this is a perfect platform to do it. And I recently, there was a point where during a General Assembly, they did the whole General Assembly on collaboration. I think that was the best General Assembly I've ever attended within the Catalyst Network, because that provides these members to, talk with each other, listen to each other's ideas, and connect up. So that's where the power really is. Thank you.
Thank you, Fawad, and thank you for being such an advocate for collaboration for the goals. And kudos to the Catalyst 2030 team as well for the General Assembly that clearly added so much value to its members. Achla and Kaiz, I think Kaiz, if you can hear us, I'm going to ask you to come in since we couldn't hear from you earlier. And then Achla, if you could come in with your closing thoughts before we jump into the breakout rooms. Kaiz, if you could unmute yourself, please. We're unable to hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Somehow I had some technical issues because my laptop could not work as properly. And so, hello everyone. This is Qais Anwari Ahmad. Ahmad Qais Anwari from Afghanistan. We just recently launched our chapter, and fortunately we had our first Catalyzing Change Week yesterday, and I hope you could enjoy that, or you could possibly connect with us. But I will share also in South Asia the recording. We are mainly focusing in Afghanistan chapter. We are mainly focusing on education. Somehow till the regime has already changed, we have some kind of restriction issues for girls especially, and also for the education sector. And as we realized, and as we went through some kind of statistics, that currently the most needed SDG that should be implemented in Afghanistan is education and also healthcare. And that's how we are going to mainly focus on education section. And we have about more than 15 members currently in Afghanistan as Catalyst chapter members.
Thank you for that quick update on the Afghanistan
Yes.
chapter, Kaiz. I would just like to open up the question to you as well, followed by Achula. How has the Catalyst 2030 network allowed you to accelerate your work in Afghanistan, the country chapter's work in Afghanistan?
Somehow before just going through with Catalyst 2030, I'm currently working as the program manager or project manager, working for youth for enhancement, for capability enhancement of the youths. In addition, I'm working in education section at one of the international NGOs, which is called Afghan Institute of Learning. And so previously before joining with Catalyst, I was somehow restricted with our own projects, and we were doing our own projects. But since I joined with Catalyst 2030, I see a different kind of world, somehow a different kind of people, a different kind of connections. It is truly that we could connect with all the world, with all kind of people. And somehow I got really really different kind of offers for just continue working on education sector at Afghanistan. And it motivates me, somehow it impulses me to work more. It impulses me to have more hard working on this criteria.
Wonderful to hear that, Kaiz, to hear about the diversity and the sense of community that the network has been able to provide for you so far. And all due credit to you and other members for making that happen. Achula, closing thoughts from you before we move into the breakout rooms.
I mean, especially when it's come to Sri Lankan context, because, Sri Lanka, we had this, responsible business ecosystem within the country, but there is no proper network or connections for us to, gather these people. But glad with this connecting with Catalyst 2030 and also the SDG, there are so many discussions happened. After that, we realized there are so many people. They are as individual, they are as groups, they are as communities, they work towards to achieve, not alone. They actually work always their community to overcome their problems. They know how to solve some solutions. The only thing they need some kind of like a guidance, support to overcome their poverty or maybe their community issues. So, I mean, there are so many things to learn from us, from each other, because even within the Sri Lanka, from the north and east to the west, there are so many things we learn each other. Every day, when we are having our marketplace, we have discussions. We have a program called, there is the tree called Nuga Tree, under the Nuga Tree discussions. Every week we gathered, we organize and we discuss. Thanks to Ishara, he's always keeping them organized and, going forward. And we learn a lot. And even sometimes it's okay to learn from other cultures, other people, because there are good learnings for us. I mean, even the same like Asia Forum, you know, I have a lot of learning from India. I have a lot of learning from Afghanistan. Likewise, there are a lot we can do together to, you know, achieve our people, because we don't need to wait until our government to do things. You know, as a responsible people, as a business community, as social entrepreneurs, our main goal is to achieve, you know, to create a world better place. So then I think there are more rooms, more opportunities for us to work together and achieve our common goals as individuals and as community groups.
Amazing. And the Google Tree sessions sound fascinating. So glad to hear about that. And of course, learning from each other and embracing differences really seems to be working for many of the chapters. So thank you for that. Now we jump into the breakout room sessions. So John, if you could just quickly bring up the slide on that so we can run people through the process. This is the part where all of you come in, and we would just like to take you through what we are proposing would be the format for that session. Next slide, please, John. The next slide. Thank you. So as we mentioned previously, please introduce yourselves, your name, your organization, the initiatives that you work on, the areas that you consider to be your personal priorities or passions, and where you can extend support to the network, and where in turn you would like support on. We have certain indicative questions for you. What are your specific needs as a social innovator or change maker? What issues do you think we can collaborate with each other on in South Asia? So do think at a regional country chapter level, but also at a South Asia level. And we have the 3 breakout rooms currently, if I'm not mistaken, John, each of which will be led by one of the country chairs, who will summarize the learnings from your breakout rooms and present it in the plenary. So we have very limited time. So I think John's just about to assign all of you to the respective rooms. The Jamboard has been assigned to all 3 rooms for you to just share your inputs on those opportunities as well. But before we jump in, I think, John, you would like to take a quick photo of everyone present on the call. So could we request all of you to please switch your cameras on? Let us know when to go cheese, John.
Okay. Giving a few more seconds for people to open your camera if you're able.
Yes, please.
Not totally fine.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're ready to take the photo. Please flash your smiles. 1, 2. And 1 safety shot. 1, 2. Thanks, everyone.
Wonderful. Thank you, John. So I think now we're going to assign all of you to the breakout rooms, and please feel free to have an open conversation, and really looking forward to hearing from all of you once we're back.
Okay, confirming that I've already opened the room. You should be able to see that in your panel.
Yeah, I can see people joining in.
If you need any support, I can also put you directly to the room. Hi, Madav. Great to see you here. Just let me know if you need any help.
I think we still have a few people in the main room, John. Not sure if they're having technical issues and joining.
Yeah, they've been put in the room. They just have to accept it.
All right, I'm jumping into one of the rooms as well, John, so I'll see you in a bit.
Okay. Hi, Ajit, John, Atul, Saravana, and Madav. Are you able to join your assigned group?
And we are back.
Yes.
Yes, we're just going to wait for a few more people to join in.
Sankara, we missed you. You dropped out right after your introduction.
John, do we have everyone else back in the room now?
Yes, we do.
Okay, great. So if everyone's back, then let's jump right in. How is everyone feeling about the breakout room discussions? I know it was limited time, but just wanted to get a quick sense check. Would anyone like to come in? And not the chairs, of course, will be giving the summary of the takeaways from the different rooms shortly. But does anybody else want to come in on how forums like this can add value? Great. Thank you so much, too. That's good to know that your room had amazing discussions. Would any other members like to just come in?
No, I think this is just a beginning. I think we may have to spend more time or have more exchanges or, sharing of things to, more collaborative partnership to evolve from this. But this is a good beginning. That's what I feel.
Great. Glad to know that it's at least a start. Of course, we had very limited time, but this is the first in a series. And with your inputs and feedback, I'm sure we'll be able to construct more forums like this that will add value in different ways. Great. Okay, so let's jump right into the plenary sharing. And in the meantime, as always, please keep the conversation going in the chat. So I'd like to call on breakout room number 1's lead or chair, Arjun Bhattarai, to come in and give us a quick sense of what we discussed in the room.
Okay, thank you very much. And it was very interesting discussion. Of course, the time was very limited for us, and we have a very good mix-up of Philippines, Bangladesh, India, Vietnam, Nepal. So a mix. It's a very interesting group. And there's three major like takeaway, like we share actually the four major takeaway. Like one is the very importance, like the knowledge on the digitalized technology, because everyone they feel importance of the digitalized and technology on social, for the social enterprise, especially for the community and grassroots social entrepreneurs, and that is a very unique opportunity to we can engage and collaborate. The second part of the research, like that's that colleague from the India, Dr. Deepak also shared, they are doing the good research project in the South Asia and the Asia, so we can collaborate on that research also. That's very important for us. And the third is the capacity building areas, like many social enterprise, they need capacity buildings, and then that is the we have like different knowledge and capacity, so we can share that capacity building platform to the regions. And finally there's we have like not still not policy the social entrepreneurs across the region. So we have like discuss what the policy and the communication and other agenda, like for the social enterprise going on the like their own country and where they need to register, so that kinds of information very important for the contribute to my group. So welcome.
Okay, thank you so much, Arjun, for that quick summary of breakout room number 1. You certainly seem to have covered a lot of ground, given that we only had 20 minutes. Moving on to breakout room number 2, which was led by Ramiz Alam, coordinator and co-chair of India chapter.
Thanks. I think one interesting thing which I have always observed in my association or working with social entrepreneurs, that whatever the issue they are most passionate about, they tend to seek a collaborative platform which can take up that work. And I think that was the beginning of our discussion, but then it gradually moved to a specific direction as well. So a few points came up. One was that there is a need that we need to create a client base for the services we are providing. So there is a possibility that the programs we have created have worked in our region and in our geographies, and it's relevant for us to take them to other places where we can find support or where we can actually solve a problem on the issue that we are working on. The other one was using tech solution that Sankara mentioned they have developed, which is part of 2 countries and 7 states, and in various other platforms and organizations are using it to rehabilitate a person with disabilities. And then there was another one which was more common for all of us eventually, that the narratives usually are driven by countries and that are political in nature. So there is a need for social interactive platform, people-to-people connect and interaction that will provide alternative narrative to share culture and the realities of our own countries and context. With that, it is also important to set up a mechanism to facilitate on the issues we are working on, like rehabilitation, the food industry that we are trying to impact, the waste management technologies that are there, we can share. So it also becomes a platform to share the knowledge that is existing in different countries, what has worked in Pakistan and Sri Lanka and India and Nepal, how we can share that with each other. There was another interesting point that came out was the common sign language. Right now, there are various sign languages that are in existence. Can we create a group that can develop a common sign language? This will help a lot of us who are working in the area of disability to be able to communicate with each other as well. So yeah, I think, but what stand out is that how do we actually create a platform which provides real narrative and can also become a base to share knowledge and seek support. Nishit, Sankara, hope I have covered everything, and Irandi.
Yes,
Thank you.
excellent. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, you covered everything. I'm sorry that I have to run now. So kindly excuse me. Looking forward to meeting you all again. In fact, I was with another group and suddenly jumped into this group. Yeah.
Yes, we saw that. You were in breakout room 3, but thank you so much, Mr. Shankararaman, for joining us. And thank you,
very
Ramesh, for
much.
that quick summary. Clearly some future forward-looking thoughts there that I'm sure we can think more deeply about and take actions forward on. So last but not the least, I'd like to call on Fuad Bajwa, who is the coordinator of the Pakistan chapter and who is leading the room that I was part of, that is breakout room number 3. So Fuad, over to you.
Thank you, Aparna. Our group concentration was around, the education and entrepreneurial capability development organizations or groups or groups working on those ideas. At the same time, you had a bit of mix of, someone from food security and rural connectivity. So the overall takeaway was that, collaborations happen around common goals or common, common areas. So, and at entrepreneurship is crucial for our, regions and for cross collaboration. The context would be very different from country to country, but in general, social innovation or social innovation-led entrepreneurship is critical. So there needs to be collaboration in that area. So that's some areas to work with. Communication with each other beyond the General Assembly is really important. It's so important that from the General Assembly we've been developing or connecting with the other members across the world, but our own connectivity within our region is limited. So we need to sort of look at the possibility of a regional General Assembly and have it every month as well, and possibly look at cross collaboration between countries, between organizations, our members of Catalyst 2030 through these regional gatherings. And then collaboration is always starts when people start contributing something. So they can only contribute when the organization has or the network has a stock of what everybody is doing. So maybe we might want to put together a document of the membership list is already there. We already have what organizations are working in. Maybe tone it down to the regional level and share it among those regional assemblies so that we can, find common grounds and start exploring things. So that's mostly from us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fawad. And yes, it was an interesting discussion in our room as well. I know we're very short on time and we have only a couple of minutes left. So any closing thoughts from members present or attendees present on the call today before I call on Mishri, Jen, and John to come in again for their closing remarks? Mr. Rangarajan, I think you've unmuted. Would you like to share something?
No.
Okay. All right. So, sorry, Abhijit, did I see you unmute? I guess not. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Again, I hope this was sort of a start for the session at least. Before we close out, I'd just like John to come in with his closing remarks. But before that, I'd just like to add that forums like these are only a start, as Mr. Rangarajan and others said. And no doubt we will have more forums like these constructed thanks to all the inputs shared by you. Personally, as a member of Catalyst 2030 India, I'm glad to see that we're doing this at a South Asia level to bring together the global South, so to speak, and really leverage the power of networks. So on that note, I hope to see all of you again in other forums. And thank you so much for your active participation. And really looking forward to seeing how these collaborations move forward. And the learnings have all been very great and insightful. So on that note, John, would you like to come in and close out the session?
Yeah, it's not going to be a formal closing, but I would just like to thank, first of all, Aparna for moderating the session. We really appreciate your contribution today. Of course, our country reps who have been sharing their country experiences and different collaborations that we can all take part in. So again, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can always start what's already being done. And yeah, take it from there. I think just to emphasize, this is an initial sense check and brainstorming. I think what's clear from today's session is there's an overwhelming interest for a South Asia space to continue moving forward. And I mean, there's a lot of opportunities that can be explored, space to support organizations, individuals, and different chapters that have been sprouting also. Bangladesh is going to be launching soon. We have to also expand to Maldives, etc. And of course, there's different global opportunities that I think we're not able to fully take advantage of. There's Tendril, there's social change innovators, there's different initiatives that we hope to bring to the different countries and different regions. In my work as Asia Pacific coordinator, if there's an interest to also connect with Australasia, with Southeast Asia, that's also something that we can do in parallel to, trying to develop South Asia. Again, without further ado, I know it's already 4:30 my time. Thank you. Really, really thankful for everyone's participation today. This is not the end. Please be on the lookout for future conversations, and hopefully we can start really collaborating and just start working and doing something for the region and the globe, etc. Back to you, Aparna. Thanks, everyone.
Great last words, John, to close out the session. Once again, a big thanks to the Catalyst 2030 Secretariat, to the various country chairs who were kind enough to join today and share their learnings and insights. And of course, to all the members and other attendees who chose to spend their time with us today. We really appreciate your investment and we look forward to meeting you again soon. So thank you very much and have a good day. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.